The 2023-24 women's college basketball season is gearing up for March Madness, and the players are hitting the ground running. Quite literally, too. Today we're taking a look at the top 5 fresh faces in women's college basketball. Freshmen who are making an immediate impact on the court. Sounds like fun? Well, let's get right into it. Say hello to the 19-year-old 6'3" Shaquille O'Neal of women's college basketball, Audi Crooks. Crooks averaged 32.9 points, 13.3 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 2.8 blocks per game as a senior in high school, breaking the single-season state scoring record while shooting 75.2% from the field. Rated as a 4-star recruit and considered among the best high school prospects of the 2023 class, it was only natural that Crooks would receive offers from top Division I programs. But when the time finally came to choose, Crooks decided to go with Iowa State in April of 2022. Just to show how good she is, Crooks dominated on her debut for the Iowa State Cyclones, recording 8 points and 5 rebounds in a win over Butler. Pretty badass, right? Wait till you hear that in her second game she scored a team-high 23 points on 7 of 9 shooting, and just in her second game, she had broken a record. It was the most points scored off the bench by an Iowa State player since Kid Bleskowski in 2014. Ever since she's arrived, she's led the scoreboard for the Cyclones, and her 67.6% shooting from the field is the best of any freshman in the country. Crooks is definitely out to do great things. We're just lucky to witness her play. If you know who NBA legend Earvin Magic Johnson is, you can imagine what it would take to impress this guy. And this kid just did that on her debut for South Carolina's big win over Notre Dame. With less than 3 minutes to play before halftime, Fulwiley maneuvered her way through the Notre Dame defense and did a behind-the-back take-it-to-the-rim transition to make the basket. If you've ever had a ball in your hands, then you know just how difficult it is to pull that move off. I mean, it was so impressive that Magic Johnson made a comment on her performance on X and called it the best move in all of basketball. Like that wasn't enough, she also recorded 17 points, 6 assists, 6 steals, and 1 block performance in the game. The 5'10" point guard is what some people might call a show-off, but you gotta love her. Already known for her no-look passes and masterful fake-outs, she brings her flair to the game and puts on quite the show. And with a guy like Chef Curry as a mentor, we can only expect her to become better. Being rated the number 2 player in the class of 2023 by ESPN is a pretty big deal because every program is going to want you, and that's how it was for this kid. Michaela Williams was a 5-star recruit who declined offers from Ole Miss, Baylor, Duke, and Texas A&M just to play for LSU. In her first game for LSU this season, she scored 17 points against Colorado, but somehow that wasn't enough for this 6-foot point guard. The 18-year-old went on to score 42 points in a win over Kent State to become the player with the most points by a freshman in an LSU women's basketball game history. And this performance also marked the highest scoring performance by an LSU player since Cornelia Gayden in 1996. But seriously, a freshman breaking records at the start of the season? That ain't right. Someone's got to tell Michaela to take it easy out there. But as you'll see with the number 2 and number 1 freshmen on this list, they don't go easy on the record breaking either. What's the first thing you notice about a player like Hannah Hidalgo? I bet it's the colorful hair, but don't let her colorful hair fool you. This 18-year-old is not here to just make a fashion statement. As a senior, this young lady averaged 28.8 points, 7.3 steals, 6.4 rebounds, and 5.1 assists per game, finishing as her school's all-time leading scorer with 2,135 points. Rated a 5-star recruit and the number 5 player in her class by ESPN, she chose to play college basketball for Notre Dame, despite receiving offers from Michigan, Stanford, Duke, Ohio State, and UCF. In her debut game against South Carolina, Hidalgo scored 31 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. Sounds like a record broken? Well, yes. This was the highest scoring debut by a Notre Dame player since at least 1999. In January, Hannah was back with 34 points, 10 boards, and 6 assists in a win over UConn, surpassing the program freshman's single-game scoring record held by Michelle Marciniak by far. The next game, Hidalgo showed us she wasn't here to mess around, as she dropped a career-high 35 points along with 8 assists and 6 steals. How can anyone top this? Well, you'd see why there's a number one spot. Juju Watkins. You're going to want to remember the name. Being the number one player in the 2023 recruiting class, no top freshman list would be complete without this player. Watkins was considered a 5-star recruit, and she chose to play for USC over offers from South Carolina and Stanford. In her first game, the 18-year-old dropped 32 points in a win over Ohio State like it was nothing. With that, she set the USC record for most points in a freshman debut, surpassing WNBA legend Lisa Leslie. Talk about breaking a record in your first college game. About a week later, Watkins scored 35 points in another win against Lemoyne. 9 days after that, she recorded 31 points and 12 boards. It was the first time she had 3 consecutive 30-point games, which tied Cheryl Miller for the longest such streak in program history. But she was just getting started. She scored a career-high 51 points and grabbed 11 rebounds in a victory over Stanford. That was breaking a previous record held by Cherry Nelson for the USC single-game scoring record. In case you weren't counting, that's 3 records broken already by this freshman. Talk about a fairy tale debut season. We know one thing for sure, Juju Watkins is definitely a future WNBA star. And with that, folks, you've got the top 5 freshmen who are already leaving their mark on women's college basketball. Which player do you think will have the biggest impact as the season progresses? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. See you next time.